It's good to see everybody. Super excited about today's guest, Andrew Goldberg of the Tau Group. Alan and I have known Andrew for a long time now, and I think Andrew shares a lot of our thoughts. I think NYRAC in general kind of concept on service first, transparency, outperforming, professionalism. He'll give you a little background on himself, but they've uber successful hospitality company by just core values, right? And as we, get involved, hopefully in the back end of all of this, and we're trying to be creative, all of us, and kind of, be transparent as to what we're going through and how we're going to get out of this ahead and kind of use the experience and find the silver linings. I know a lot of you are always looking for, related industries, real estate, the hospitality groups in New York City kind of go hand in hand, right? When each of us are busy, it's a good sign for the city, and momentum will build. People are out in restaurants, people are purchasing apartments. There's certainly a lot of similarities, a lot of cohesiveness. So I thought it'd be good just to get, some inspiration, some different mindset, little nuggets of information that we can use to kind of, attack and maybe get a little confidence and get a little inspiration. Alan, any words before we get going? We're going to give Andrew the floor.
I think these are trying times. They're obviously different times. And if you think about it, as difficult as it is for us real estate brokers, real estate lawyers to get our deals going, I think what we're going to hear today, if you think about it, the hospitality industry, the club industry, the restaurant industry, is that industry that we all need to get going in order for New York City, for our little baby, to get that engine cranking. So I think Andrew I'd love to hear a little bit about what the Tau Group as a whole is, how they're really going to come back in this trying times.
Okay, cool. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me today. It's good to see people. I will start by saying I'm not an expert. I just have a lot of years of reps. So I'm glad to be able to talk to you guys about all the experience we've been through. Like Alan and Andrew said, the hospitality industry has never seen a moment like this where sort of we're in the headlights of not a lot of optimism 3 months ago. As March 12th approached on us, we really got our crew together and figure out what we're going to do as we close everything down. And I think that set the tone. We had to let go of 5,500 of our teammates, and we made a pledge, the 200 people that were on, to call each and every one of them. And that trying 2 weeks of calling everyone gave us the character that we needed to get through this. We started getting messages from those let go teammates saying, thank you for personalizing it. And it set the tone for our community. And we, from day one, were saying, how do we reopen? When will we reopen? And we were preparing every day for this moment. New York, obviously, I feel like, unfortunately, why we're always in the throes of this, whether it's 01, 08, or 20. But I think we're strong here, and I think we're going to come back. And we're excited with the plan we have. And we thought originally, going back to 2 weeks ago, we weren't going to open until September. And now we're excited that we think by July 8th, we'll have a lot of our brands open on the restaurant side for pickup and delivery and 50% occupancy seating. So that's where we are at the start of it. There's a lot more if people want to ask. You want to ask some questions?
Yeah, so we have a bunch of questions, and everybody, I have questions that everybody submitted before, but let's get the conversation going. And everybody knows about the chat box, so don't be shy. I know we don't have a shy group. So let's talk about some silver linings, some positives. What have you learned as a business, as individual running a business, dealing with others, dealing with clients, dealing with your staff?
We actually added silver linings to our daily meetings because we were so negative at the beginning. We realized we had to introduce positivity, so we all had a silver lining meeting. Some of the things I take out of this is I have become a better communicator. We used to hold a lot close to the vest with all of our people, and during this, you need transparency. We also thought we were an invincible company in some way. We were cruising along, doing so well. We never thought Mother Nature would come and speak like this to us, and all of these tentacles of hardships. But we realized that we now have to be more prepared in the future to deal with thunderstorms that might come our way. And we can complain about the 50% occupancy. We can complain about the closings, but we need to figure out solutions. So we're way better solution-based company than we were 3 months ago. We're way more transparent, and we're going to try to figure out how to open up in this environment. And I think the country will get behind New York. I think we'll need some assistance because it's hard in a slim margin business to make money. But I think I'm very confident we'll make it through because we believe we will.
And I think that ties into a lot of what I'm hearing, especially even with the real estate brokers. You know, clients are pushing, right? Hey, I want to get an apartment listed. We need to get moving now, but you can't, right? Legally, the brokers can't get out there and get rolling. So sometimes it's, you know, you don't have the answer yet. Sometimes it's, you know, dealing with the elephant in the room and giving reasonable expectations and doing the best you can. You know, the best we can do sometimes is not necessarily what our clients want or what's good for our pocket, but, you know, it's kind of a long-term approach. And that's, I think, where we are right now. I guess, what new methods have you adopted? I know you're starting to, you know, deliver more, right? Or a lot of restaurants are doing curbside, but more, you know, I guess from a business standpoint.
Yeah. I think an important business standpoint we learned is our company is going to be regionalized for a while. And what I mean by that is we opened in Las Vegas this weekend and it was packed and no one was wearing a mask. So when I'm on a call with our New York contingent, our jaws are on the floor and we're all cursing at each other. And we had to understand every part of the world where a global company is going to have a different initiative and a style to this pandemic. And instead of condemning what they're doing, we're going to try to, what we said, like the Cosmo, where we have Beauty and Essex in Las Vegas, they just said, come in, no masks, nothing. So what we did, not to try to intimidate people, is all we're doing is taking temperature as they enter our restaurant with a thermal thermometer, not too evasive, and then requesting for you to wear a mask. We don't really want to engage. And what we did on the intern is we told our crew that we'd like you to wear a mask and gloves and change your gloves because we care about you. So there's an empathy with our crew. There's an empathy to the people. So it's going to become a geographical, like the demographics of every market is different. In New York, when we open in 2 weeks, I feel like everyone will want to wear a mask and see that we are the gold standard. In Las Vegas, we're going to do what we can. In Chicago, every market will have their little idiosyncrasies. So we're learning as a global company, you can't have one initiative. You got to have tentacles and you got to listen to the community and be safe to our crew. We want to show our crew.
Yeah, that makes sense. We're all sensitive to dates. I guess Fabian was asking September to July, things change. What's the
every day? The one part in our business we're not used to is government intervention, but really this is the one note. Like in Las Vegas last month, they were like, we're not opening until a long time, and then one day later they said we're opening next week. So it's so fluid all the time with all the markets. Chicago, we opened 3 weeks ago, but then there were protests, so there were curfews. In LA, we opened protest curfews. So every day we're watching government rulings to make sure we can open to handle everything that's going on around us as well. So like I said, we're phase 4, let's say for phase 2 for the restaurants at 50%. So that's a July 8th. If everything is good till July 8th, we're going to open. But if the hospitals, let's say hospitalization goes up or some other ruling, we could now be pushed back another 4 weeks. So that's the moving target all the time, is government involved in our business.
Right. So to the extent, you know, maybe not necessarily Tao, but what you're seeing as an industry, I'm sure you're speaking to other owners and principals of restaurants and groups. Just as far, your friend actually asked this question, Mara, renegotiating leases, you know, because it's going to be 50% occupancy. And as you mentioned, it's a slim margin, right? So what, I guess, how's the restaurant industry as a total dealing with that?
Unfortunately, I think there'll be a major consolidation and a reset, because the number one expense is our rent. And a lot of the small shops won't have, from April till now, you're talking 4 or 5 months of rent. If there were no concessions, the restaurateur, unless you're the owner, manager, chef, and you're the only employee, he can survive. But if not, the rent was the number one concession that everyone needed to survive. Obviously, the PPP money has come into it, but you need to use 75% of it for your crew, right? So you only could use 25% of that. They did extend it out, which helps. But I think a lot of businesses will close because landlords didn't reduce their rents. The ones that look for the long-term partners and the ones who've had a great tenant in there, they'll keep them. They'll make deals. We every day, the first thing that we did from March 12th till now is speak to landlords, and that's been an ongoing negotiation. Some have been great, some are still fluid.
Right, Alan, what are you seeing on the commercial end?
Yeah, no, I'm interested to see. I guess each landlord is different. Have any landlords forgiven rent? Because most of my experience on the commercial side here in New York, we're finding it difficult for a lot of the larger landlords to forgive rent. A lot of them are forbearing it, kind of restructuring it, adding to the term at the end. Have you seen landlords here in New York or throughout the country where they'll forgive rent, they'll give up rent for these March, April, and May, or is it really just a restructuring you're seeing, Andrew?
It's so funny. This is the one moment in time where every single landlord or a company that we pay rent to is their individual opinion, individual thought process on this. No two leases look the same and no deal is the same. It's pretty interesting. I think every landlord went back to the drawing board of whatever they're thinking, and it's been an ongoing negotiation. Some are forgiving, some are 50% reduction during the 3 or 4 month. Some are willing to do, percentage rent. Every deal seems to be different, and we fought as hard as we can for the best deal for the company, obviously. But no two deals are the same that I've seen.
That's what we're seeing, even on the residential end, right? When we're renegotiating deals, structuring deals, the same thing, right? That's where we have to be patient and really kind of talk to the clients and I kind of work through their issues. And listen, you can have the best game plan, and then you approach the other side. It's all for nothing because they're not willing to play ball and they're stiff and they're calling their litigators. So yeah, that's the frustrating part. You think you have a good proposal and you're trying to be reasonable, but not everybody has the same idea of what a reasonable approach is. What about the last week with the protest? Is that impacted anything, or are you kind of, I guess, is it going to give you time?
I think more the curfews hurt on a business step. I'm keeping this obviously business. Yeah, I think the curfews closed us 5 days last week in each market. So in Chicago and LA, we aren't open in New York yet, so it wasn't really relevant. But that definitely affected the lift off. But it looks like everything is. Chicago will be open tonight. Beauty and Essex reopens we're going to be open Wednesday through Saturday in Las Vegas. But Las Vegas, if the health stays good, it's a great sign. We were busy both nights, even at 50%.
Right.
Great. It's great. It seems like New York is, because we were the epicenter of this whole infection, I think a lot of people, I'd love to see, like, what does the opening look like when it opens, when you open a restaurant here in New York? Everyone talks about outdoor seating, but without covers, the weather is going to affect it. What's the thought process there?
I mean, the process is obviously the PPP, the PPE is the biggest trainings we're going to have, the learnings for our crew. They're going to come in and we're going to have to train them and how to be the gold standard on service. So once we show people that we care about their health, the crew and the guest, I think that will disseminate through the city. And I think people want to come to us because they'll feel more comfortable. I think they're going to look, I think people are going to see, especially New Yorkers, we're the smartest people, we're the most up to date. They want to know who's in touch with what makes people healthy and fun. So I think that's an interesting part. I think it's interesting as we rehire is going to be an amazing. They're going to ask us, are we a part of this? Are we going to do what's expected? But I do think the most important part was, since we were the first hit, is the stigma, is we all have to work hard to relinquish that stigma that the virus was like New York. There was a lot of sentiment around like New York is a bad place to be. We, as people who are residing here, need to talk it up. Things are great. Things are getting better. And we have to be examples by eating at restaurants responsibly. So that could help too. I think that'll be a catalyst.
Yeah, I think that it ties to the real estate world. That's the same, right? For us as real estate brokers, real estate attorneys, real estate professionals, we need to be the advocates, right? Where I keep saying it's funny. I'm talking to some newspaper reporters. They're talking and asking me questions about topics from a month or two ago, right? It's not even relevant anymore. So like the front lines is where we are, and for just the analogy to the real estate world, the creative broker, the broker who thinks outside the box, the broker who's forward thinking, everything you're describing, right? Who's, sitting and really brainstorming on the strategic approach, how to give clients comfort level, right? How do you give a client or a customer a comfort level to, to transact or come to your venue in this type of world, right? You have to, go above and beyond, right? You have to explain to them and show them how they're safe. Actually, it ties into a restaurant, and it ties into a contract as well, right? You're not taking on risk health-wise or legal-wise. So that's been, a lot of ideas behind how people are going to move forward. I think we are the biggest advocates, right? The business owners, the attorneys, the brokers, the people that are out on the street, speaking to these. I mean, I'm sure you're on the phone every day, all day, just like we are, right? And you're speaking to clients, customers, centers of influence, right? That's it's a, I guess it's like a grassroots approach, right? We're all starting over again to an extent, which is interesting.
Totally.
Technology. So have you, we were trying to embrace, or we have been embracing technology. Fortunately, before this happened, we're definitely taking it to another level now. What's going on your end? I guess menus and just, practical things that we know about, or even, just having people, working from home.
Yeah, when, as soon as the pandemic started, we said right away, we have to learn how to use, obviously Zoom just came before our eyes. We got really good at Zoom. We would have DJs come on, and we go onto our social channels and have our DJs donate their time, and, just for camaraderie. We've pivoted our model, saying maybe we have to have a virtual business. So we were focusing on having on a chef's experience. So right now we're selling, let's say, Chef Ralph making pasta, and it's at your home, and you have a Zoom. So Andrew has a Zoom with 10 of his friends, or 10 clients, let's see, and it creates a diversion for you, because you not only learn how to make pasta, we send you all the ingredients to your house and a bottle of wine, so everybody gets a little buzzed, you have fun, and then hopefully you'll learn some tricks of the trade of how to make great food at home, because we're not sure when everyone will get out for sort of these, with people they don't know, out of their sort of bubble. So this became a great endeavor for us, and it's working. So people are just like, we have a company that has 30, they bought 30 screens. So basically we sent pasta and wine to their house, to 30 different houses that feed 4. At 6 o'clock on a Monday, Ralph will come on and cook with them. Everyone will have the preparations, their pasta, their bowls, every cooking utensil they need. And basically what we do is we have a moderator on there, basically getting everyone a little buzzed first. And then this way, everyone doesn't have to talk too much. And you're actually engaging with your clients without having to talk to them about Corona for an hour. Because a lot of the conversations lean on Corona, health, economic, like this gets a little fun. So we're learning that part of technology. If we're not going to be the same company anymore. There's going to be, we're now working on pickup and delivery, the greatest state of the art. We're going to New Jersey, Long Island, Westchester. We're coming up with these programs where we're going to go on the road. And until we get back to normal, we're not going to wait, because it's the people that pivot and evolve are the ones that are going to stand here. The ones who want to wait for the old restaurant business, you're done. Okay, it's the new world, and we're going to embrace it rather than be fearful of it.
I guess a little bit on those lines, the reality check. What's the reality check? We're talking about the silver lining. What's the downside? Without a vaccine, is your confidence, wavering? What's the downside of all this? The reality that, we're thinking about, but maybe we're not, conversing on yet.
Well, nightlife, which is a large catalyst of our profit, is going to have a difficult time because it creates energy around a lot of people. That's the one industry. So we have to be patient on that. We have rooftops at the Dream, at the Moxie. So we're lucky. We think rooftops, open air, people will want to go. Nightlife will slowly open up and see how it works. If I'm assuming and I'm hoping and I'm praying there's no relapse, but that could be detrimental to the personal energy business of nightlife. But that's why we have to evolve and figure out ways to do restaurant business on the road, house parties. We want to get our catering business way up, because people, I think this summer especially, the people outside of the city will be having house parties, or even in the city. I think people will join together with their bubbles. So we want to be able to handle that and provide a great event of food.
Leonard asks, can a restaurant make money without selling alcohol?
No.
All right, there's the answer.
No, Leonard. I mean, listen, Can you make money just selling food? The food costs are so high, the commodity items, that it's really impossible. The markups on booze, because it's a non-perishable item, are just so much higher, and it's consumed so much quicker. I think to just sell food, it's hard to make money. In New York, especially with the rents that we pay, you needed that blend. You need a blend of more booze than food.
Got it. Okay. What about I guess some of your venues are tied to restaurants and spas. I guess along the same line, same challenges.
In the hotels?
The hotel and spa industry, yeah.
I mean, the spa industry, I think we don't have any spas that we own per se, but hotels, yes. Listen, tourists, that scares me. We need tourists to come back to New York. Hopefully that day will happen, because that's your sort of, that's your filler crowd. That's the people that want to go out every night. See, the good thing about New York is most people want to go out every night, but a tourist is a built-in business in our hotels. So you need that sort of, that core business that goes out 3 meals a day within your hotel. So I hope at some point people could fly in and the airline industry picks up. I think we need that. New York thrives on that.
Well, let's shift a little bit. Andrew and I and Alan, actually, a few years ago, we were doing a pretty cool presentation. We may have presented to a bunch of you about, attracting and retaining high-end clients, right? I mean, sometimes with your clients, Andrew, you're jumping on a plane to go to Vegas, and whether you want to or not, at this point, with the kids, it's not as exciting as it was, I'm sure, 20 years ago. But how, and it's literally for you, it's the same for us, one deal at a time, right? One client at a time. So what are, some, I guess, methods, service methods that you've, worked on and fine tuned over the years that, a lot of the brokers on this channel are, the above average brokers that, are working with affluent clients or starting to, and they certainly have their methods, but it's always good to, hear other professionals.
I think the number one method is, and at least for me, and I'll go to the grave with it, is to sort of, some people believe they're imposing when they ask me to help make a reservation somewhere. And I always have to disarm people and be like, if you don't call me and I don't assist you, then I'm not doing my job. So I like to create interpersonal relationships. I don't want people going on open tables I want them to come to me and be the conduit. Even if it's out of my group, I make people feel comfortable. If you email me to go somewhere outside of Tao Group, I don't say, wait a minute, what about us, and make them feel uncomfortable. I say, I have it. I'll be back to you in 5 minutes. So I think people want what I would call a guy, and I mean a guy or girl, someone who is, I'll be their social coordinator, so to speak. And I think we get caught up in the sales world too often. We have to make money on every single deal. But I think in the long run, if you just do things for people, you'll get the big deals. So if someone wants to go to, let's say I don't have a venue in Miami, I'll still set them up for the weekend in Miami. I won't make any money, but I guarantee the type of person that I am, they'll come back to me. And that's the kind of guest that I want everyone to go through me, and I want to be air traffic control. And I think in your world as well, it's the same thing. You can handle their business for them, and I can actually help you. You could always email me on the side, and you guys look like the hero. I think people want to be surrounded by, especially the high net worth people that you deal with and buying, they just want people to do things for them and make it easier and seamless. So that's really what I think as a sort of a guest. I always want people to go through me for everything in sort of restaurant, entertainment, nightlife around the world. And I'll hopefully make their life easier. So that's one method that I think always works.
So along those lines, how do you approach potential clients, right? Somebody who's not right, in your circle yet, in your sphere, and you see it as potential client, a target, someone who you want to, work with.
It's kind of interesting. I'll give a real life example from here. Like Al, emailed me about this today, and I spoke to him for a minute. I said, listen, if you guys ever need assistance, Andrew, I take care of Alan all the time. Hopefully we can grow this to bigger. Yesterday, he probably could have said, who is this guy? But I think over time, if I assist you guys once or I help someone somewhere, they tend to go back. So I think the first 3 deliveries, I call them, is the handoff to make it happen no matter what. So if you meet someone, just take care of them wherever it is. So I think that's kind of the key to live. People have to believe in you organically. You don't want to really sell them right away. So that's why, for some reason in my industry specifically, people feel bothered like they're imposing everyone. So I'm always like, you're never going to impose on me. This is what I do. So I always have to reiterate that until they go through me. It could take a while because some people jump onto it, but other people, it's like, really? I was only a table for two. And I'm like, yes, I want that table for two. Because also I start to navigate where people's propensities are to go and what they like. So I can profile them for the future. If there's an event they like to go, if they like Avra, if they like Chinese food at Tao, at Lavo, they like Vegas, I start to understand people's propensities, and that makes it easier.
Great. Let's see, a few more. And please, if you have questions, let us know. This is a good one. 2 to 3 ways to make a sale not sound like a sale.
Oh, 2 or 3 ways not to make a sale. If you see, for me, if I get someone access, the only thing in this world that we have in what I do money doesn't matter is access. So I always like to micromanage a certain guest and create access 2 or 3 times a year. That will create the sale. So let's say Sundance, we do a huge event. Everyone's paying a lot of money to get in. 2 or 3 people a year, I'll get in for free, because then in turn, at some point, I can knock on their door for a sale that we need, right? So I think you have to give a little to get some. I never use the word sale in it. I know you guys, it's 2 or 3 ways not to make it. You just got to make it feel like, don't talk about it the whole time. Like when someone's buying a $50,000 table, the whole conversation I talk to them, it's your daughter's birthday? Wow, we got to get her balloons. Like things that I could do for free. I'll try to throw it in there and only talk about that. You know what? I'm going to have a special cake made. Or wait, I'm going to have fun stuff on the table for them. I'm going to make a sign. I kind of talk about the things that we can do for free without adding incremental charges on it. I try to focus on the things that will kind of throw in, even though they don't cost us a lot of money.
So what, I guess you've dealt with the real estate brokers before, right? So what, I guess, some constructive thoughts? I mean, what's your interpretation, and what do you see the industry as, and what do you think, with your clients, and what can they do? What can the real estate brokerage industry do to, make themselves, more presentable, accessible, marketable?
Listen, you guys are the best at what you do. I love the industry. For sort of the seasoned ones that have the built-in network that works for them is amazing. But there are some brokers out there that I know that have built their business around my business, and I love it. Is they invest in their own business, which is difficult. You're entrepreneurs. You have to use your own money. But I know a lot of people that will do a happy hour at Tao, Marquee, at Lavo, just to engage in people because they want to become the funnel. So I watch them do what I do is they'll call me and say, I'm going to bring 50 people. Can you do something for $5,000 for open bar for 2 hours? And I'm like, of course. Because not only will bring people to our bar, that specific broker becomes a conduit or a social gathering sort of. If someone creates access, people go back to them. So I know a lot of brokers who do well using my platform to help them for the future. They take people out, they entertain. So I think that we definitely are complementary teammates. And I think it's, there's another broker who taught me, we call it the modern day golf course, nightlife and restaurant. I don't have 8 hours, 2 hours to drive there, 4 hours to play, 2 hours to get home and talk for 8 hours with one person. At least in a nightclub, you talk for 10 minutes and then you break bread over shots. So there's kind of there's a lot of things going on at once, which make it fun. And it's not just talking about, brokers or this or that. So I think the people who like going out can use hospitality venues as a great platform.
All right. We have some more time. The floor is for all of you. Any questions? Any concepts you want to, even just ideas that you're thinking about? It's always good, I find, to get, a related professional opinion on it. What tech are you using for cleaning? Not boring. Leonard said you're not boring. We love this. What tech are you using for cleaning?
Well, we're going to do things that we never, those are some of the expenses we're scared about. We're going to have to do full on, I think they're calling it the micro, but we're going to have to clean out the venues a lot. All of these expenses are the scary stuff that we're not trying to, whether it's the PPE or the cleaning, but we're going to have to go above and beyond. But we're like, you know what? We're lucky. So MSG bought our company over 3 years ago, and they've been bullish And they said, we'd rather you open and lose less money and just get open and see what happens. So if we were all an independent company as we are today, we'd be in a lot of trouble because none of us would want to put our own money in again with the unknown. So we are lucky the fact that they are a catalyst of what we do in the interpersonal business, and they want us to go and give it a shot. Yeah, go ahead.
There's some questions coming in. So I guess, are you preparing for a second wave? How are we thinking? You know, it's kind of a chatter, and we, you know, it's funny because we're all being a little bit of hypocrites right now, right? Because we weren't prepared for this, and now we said we're going to be prepared. We're going to be prepared. We're going to think outside the box. But I think a lot of us right now are. I mean, I know we are. Alan and I are thinking about like right now. We're not, you know, preparing. I guess we're already to an extent prepared. I mean, maybe it has not as much as we think we are. But are there actual, you know, concrete?
Yeah, a second wave for us would be traumatic because there would be a certain amount of our people that won't come back. And I don't want to think about that because there's certain parents that'll say, you know, Charles, you're coming back. Or people like, I don't want to leave with their children. So we hope there's no second wave. Listen, I think we'll get closed quicker and everything will. It would be detrimental. It would be a tough. Our industry would get crushed again, and I'm not sure if the government would give more. If the government would give more money and figure out a way to focus on how to keep it alive, but a second wave would be horrific. And I don't think it's. I think we're too smart here in New York. I think we'll figure a way how to get through it. And yeah.
Do you think the government assistance has been adequate? The government assistance?
Schumer did a call with all the restaurant industry, and he said a valid point. We were all pissed off at the beginning because we're like, 8 weeks. How can you do this? You'll use all the money, and then it becomes, instead of forgiving, we owe you. They had to get something out quick, and now they're coming up with the new PPP loan, which is better at extending the time. And I really think the restaurant industry they understand it a little better. I mean, they know the public sector. I don't think many politicians really know the individual space of the restaurant business, the ins and outs, besides publicly traded, you know, big conglomerates. So I think it's getting better. I think they're going to keep changing it and revisions to it to make it easier for people to last. And I don't think anybody will let New York die. That's where I think here, if you let New York die, it's the epicenter of our country. So I'm hoping that everyone gets behind this.
It doesn't appear, you know, I've read a lot and I've spoken to a lot of people, listened to a lot of webinars, that even if there is a second wave, and at some level there will be probably an increase in infections as we open up, it appears that in our country, I guess from the leader, our president, from everywhere you see, there's going to be a push to kind of move forward from a financial perspective. So I don't think there'll be another quarantine situation like we went through. So I think those that are more susceptible to infections are going to have to try to be careful in their quarantine and breaking it. And I think it's businesses like yours and real estate, even our real estate. Once we have the ability to start showing, it's going to be those that are comfortable going out there that will go out there and transact business. And with all the virtual things that are going on, everyone has teams, everyone has people that are out there running in the streets. So much can be done without even being out there to some extent, I think, in real estate, especially in our business. And I think
I got to say, in your industry, what I love is the virtual staging, which has been going on for years, but now really proliferated, sometimes might make a space look better until you get them. It might entice them to go in. So I've seen some staging that looks awesome.
Have you heard anything about UV light cleansing? I think it's used in the medical space.
Yeah, we've heard about it all, but what we keep saying to ourselves is, when information is this fluid, we don't want to be the first one to do anything. We're going to wait. We don't need to be the first in line. There's just, every day we learn something new, changes. So we want to watch things, do the best we can, but we want to wait for someone else to use it and say, this is great. Because I get 10 emails a day now trying to sell me something. Everyone's pivoted to this space of PPE. So I heard Curdy could tell the way my phone is busy in another way, that everyone's trying to make their entrepreneurial spirit this way, which I respect, but everyone's got a different pitch. And I don't think most of these pitches are flushed out.
Got it. What are you seeing with the smaller restaurants, the industry, you know, not the conglomerates, you know, what are you, mom and pop, how are they going to bounce back? How are they, you know, the mom and pops?
I'm worried about it. I'm worried that they don't have the wherewithal, they don't have the infrastructure or even the thoughts. I mean, it's a very emotional time. There's a lot of these owners that are so down that their emotions are gonna bring them down anyway, because a lot of the guys that call me say it's over, I can't do this. Yes, they could be right, but they're willing their way down. And they don't understand all the laws, and they have to pay lawyers to read them. There's just a lot of, as an independent entrepreneur, it's going to cost you a lot to get open. It's going to cost you a lot to buy this protective gear. It's not sustainable for a business to give away gloves and masks to all your crew. It's not sustainable for all these increases when your margins are so low. And that's why we really need something for our industry desperately, for these small mom and pops that we all love to go to. I don't want to see any of the small guys in New York leave, because that's our lifeblood, is the little guys, the little restaurants that I go with my family. So hopefully they'll approve letting us put people won't be offended if you add a 10% admin charge on a check, because there are going to be things that we can't get upset about, but how do you do without offending when people lose their jobs? There's just a lot of checks and balances, but there's going to be a lot of expenses that the restaurant industry has never incurred. Cleaning, like I don't want to go on, but it's nonstop.
Right. So I guess a lot. Go ahead, Alan.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, I represent a lot of lenders. It all flows upstream, right? If the rents aren't reduced, the restaurants won't be able to operate. If the landlords aren't collecting the rents, they won't be able to service their debt on their mortgages. So it's a constant balance. Almost like if they bail out the banks, everything would flow upstream. Let some of these small restaurants get past these 2 or 3 months where they made no income, and let them start fresh on these leases. It would sure help our city go a long way.
I think that would be the dream scenario, is like, how do you get a reset, and how do you start zero from September 1, you know, when everyone comes back to New York? Because also the unfortunate part is a lot of the 1% that we all deal with on this call, you know, they left New York, right? If you have kids and you're between 35 and 55 and they're young and you can't go to a park, you know, I found myself at the beginning yelling at my 2 kids at the park, "Don't touch this. I gotta get out of here. I'm a sicko right now." Like, I'm not a nice person because we're all worried about COVID. So that would be an amazing, Alan. If we could pull that off and start over in the fall and figure out how to do that, that would be the biggest thing.
It seems in the real estate market, the above $4 million deals, to me, those people are gone till Labor Day, or at least a chunk of them will be. I think the activity that we're going to see when things open up over the next few weeks will be the under $4 million deal. That's where we'll start to see a lot of activity. I know right now the new construction market has been pretty slow, quite frankly. There haven't been much new activity there. I've been representing and speaking to people about block sales. A lot of sponsors are trying to sell blocks of units, but individually, we're not seeing a lot of that. Because I think, quite frankly, that market is just out of the city for a while right now. So how restaurants like yours come back will actually have a profound effect on all of us, because that's going to affect our value. People aren't coming back unless the restaurants and the entertainment and really
we gotta
the
make
social culture that
we have to make people feel good when they come in. We have to be in there every night smiling, and you go home and be like, wow, our city's back. So my goal is going to be to get all of our crew every night giving gracious hospitality, and a challenge is, which is interesting, when I want to let everybody know, is in Vegas, they told us, because we were all wearing masks, everybody, they said, people didn't know how we were feeling. And it was weird, because we're so used to telling everybody have a smile and be gracious, but you can't see it. So we're trying to figure a new way to show gracious hospitality without showing your face, which is an interesting challenge we never thought about. But people come to restaurants to feel good. So we're going to figure out a way to make people feel great, because I think you take that home with you. I had a great dinner at Beauty and Essex at Tao at Lavo. I'm going to take that to the workforce tomorrow, or I'm going to take that while I try to figure it out. So I think we need to be the #1 proponent of fun, and it's important.
So there are a few questions here actually about kind of getting back to the safety net. And the brokers are dealing with the same thing, actually, with showings, right? With coming up with new policies and procedures. Plastic utensils. Prince says, hey, he was tied up before. Contact solutions, lights, shields between tables, no menus. So I guess all these are being considered. And
well, the one thing we're not going to do is we're going to take the gold standard approach, but I'm not sure we're going to use the dividers. We'd rather use every other table, because I think we can't lose the personal space. We can't lose the personal experience. I think in the QSR, which is the fast food space, the quick serve, yeah. But for us, we'll just do every other table for now. We'll dress up the table so it doesn't seem bare. But I don't think we're in the business of people. And if we're going to open a restaurant, we got to do it right and safe. You know, if you go to a pizza place, you get it, right? But if you come to Tao, we have to do our best to make sure everyone that walks in is safe, and we create a safe environment. And, you know, we're offering things like, do you want shared food or individual food? Do you want your own plastic?
Right.
Those are the things we're going to offer. We're going to give them an envelope to put their mask in. We ask you to please wear your mask when you go to the bathroom. You may take it off while you're eating or drinking. Like, we're going to have guidelines. So that's the way we're going to do it.
Yeah, that's helpful. That makes a lot of sense. This has been great. Thank you so much, Andrew.
Can you pass along my email, Andrew@TaoGrow?
Yeah, you know what? I'll put it in the box right now. Andrew, Andrew@TaoGroup, right, .com?
Yeah.
So Andrew is the man who knows everybody and can get you anything. So
anything you guys need.
He has done countless events for Alan and I and my family and my friends. So and he's the most selfless person I know. So
I appreciate you guys. We're going to get back there. We're going to get back at it.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Take care now. Bye-bye.
Thank you.